Good morning, Minister, Ambassador Yamazaki. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thank you for joining us for the ASEAN and Asia Focus organized by the SIA. Allow me to say a few broad remarks about the context of our sessions ahead of us. The ASEAN Asia Focus this year is really looking at partnerships, especially for trade investment and infrastructure. I think we meet in a context where global events seem quite challenging, if not negative. There is, in the near abroad, a big challenge on the political front, humanitarian front, in Myanmar. There are also wider concerns about the Sino-American relationship, and while tensions have not escalated, they certainly continue, as the remarks in the Alaska meeting show. And of course, no meeting can be done these days without the word pandemic or COVID-19. And while our island, our country, is quite safe, there are really challenges ahead. Many parts of the world still see numbers climbing. But allow me to set a framework that perhaps is a bit corrective to this negative news. That if we look forward, we will see there are reasons to be slightly more optimistic and to look for opportunities both in our region and beyond. On the first part, the pandemic, health, and economy, I think ASEAN, while not perfect, is a relatively bright spot compared to other regions of the world. The pre-pandemic growth numbers show this. The efforts to create and integrate an ASEAN economic community have not gone away. In fact, they've been reinforced. And the fundamentals of the demography of our region, not so much Singapore, of our region and of the value chains are real. The pandemic impacts have been real also, but relatively limited, as I said, compared to other regions, and some around us, like Vietnam, have been exemplary about how to control and to continue to find growth. If I look more broadly at East Asia, especially the partners like Japan, China, and South Korea, we still see the same pattern, that as a whole, our region has done relatively well. And as we approach the vaccine rollout and testing, there will be, of course, importance for equitable access to have systems like COVAX internationally and the ASEAN COVID Response Fund start to really kick in. But if we manage this well, consistently, I think our region will be emerging from the crisis strongly. And I think in this sense, it behooves Singapore to listen to both the World Health Organization and, of course, our own Prime Minister when he said, no one is safe until we are all safe. The second reason I think framing it, we should be slightly on the optimistic side, is directly on economics and trade investment. It has been a tough year for many people, many corporations and countries. But the confidence is that growth can return, and more, that our region has moved ahead significantly with trade agreements like the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership involving ASEAN and all our key members. The CPTPP, despite the horrible acronym, is a very important, deep, reform-minded agreement led by Japan and linking to 4 of ASEAN countries, including Singapore, of course, and other partners in the Asia-Pacific. And this, in a way, are bold steps that go against a lot of the world trends towards more protectionism. Very important to see that our region is progressive. In driving the region forward, as I mentioned, our economies around us are doing well, and particularly China's recovery is exciting a lot of people as a driving factor. Moreover, while Sino-American tensions I referred to earlier exist, in a way our region stands on the prospect of a silver lining. They're looking for a non-China option, as Japanese companies have done for a long time. Not to exit China, but to have an additional place to go to. Without being complacent, ASEAN does stand ready to have a recovery and a reform that can collectively bring direct investment and anchor global value chains in our region, of which Singapore, of course, is a hub. To backbone and recover and connect the value chains infrastructure, another topic we'll cover today, is an essential. Here, I want to credit China. Despite the criticisms and controversies around the Belt and Road Initiative, it really has brought a lot of important attention to the large gaps and therefore the large opportunities to be seized in building up the infrastructure as a kind of backbone to our connectivity in East Asia. But that highlight also means that we've got to look beyond simply large billion-dollar numbers. We've got to look at the quality, the trust, and the sustainability and bankability. And here, besides China, there are a need to recognize the multilateral banks and consistent partners like Japan, which enjoys a great deal of trust in the quality of its projects that it backs. Allow me to close. Our ASEAN Asia Focus and our larger ASEAN Asia Forum have been held by the Institute since 2007. When we started, many actually shared with me that we should actually put the larger economies of Asia in front of the name. It should be the Asia and ASEAN. But the years since then, I think, have really shown the logic, at least for a Singapore-based forum, to really look first at our near abroad of ASEAN, and then that wider first circle of partners in Asia. Allow me to close here, wishing you well. Thank you for spending the morning with us, Minister, Ambassador, those of you able to make it here in person, and those of you on Zoom. Thank you very much.